Welcome to Second Saturday. My name is Alfonso Severos. I have witnessed in my lifetime a number of different revolutions. In 1965, I was a freshman in college and I took a physics class. And the nerve of them. They put us in, at that time, it was a computer lab. I never really knew the term, never heard the term computer lab. And these computers were 6 feet long with punch cards. And I said to myself, this will never work. And we seen what happened with that. 1990s, we saw a second revolution. First was the computer. We saw this revolution in communication. We went from the commercials that says if you don't have a dime, you can't call a lawyer, to cell phones. Didn't see that one coming. Here we are in the 2000s, and I think we're on the verge of a third revolution. Digital currency, cryptocurrency. My guest today is Shanah Walton, author, investor, and a crypto coach. Shanah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I need to find out, what is digital currency? What is cryptocurrency?
Digital currency and cryptocurrency are sometimes used interchangeably. They are different. Cryptocurrency is based off of encrypted, so it's like encrypted currency. Digital currency meaning currency that exists in digital form. Right now we are using digital currency unbeknownst to us because we don't deal with paper money very often. Money is transacted from person to person via different mediums, whether you're doing an Apple Pay transaction or a Samsung Pay with your phone, or just getting your direct deposit from your job. So most of our money exists digitally at this point anyway.
So what is the difference between the digital currency and what we're doing now, or is it just part of the same?
Bitcoin is a form of cryptocurrency, which is also digital currency. So Bitcoin can be used as a way to pay for things, and it can also be an investment option. I am more concerned or been focused on the investment side of it. So it operates much like the stock market, where there's fluctuations. So you would buy at a lower price and then sell. Buy at a lower price and sell at a higher price.
How would a person think of a Bitcoin? Do you think of it in terms of a dollar bill or?
The equivalent of it right now is about $8,000 bills. So you don't want to think of it as a dollar bill per se. More similar to a stock, maybe, is a better way if you're talking about investments. You want to think of it more.
The dollar value is now up to $8,000?
Yes, it is. And last year it reached $20,000. And then, like I said, the market's in a cycle. It's fluctuating. It's gone up and down, but not back to 18,000. Hopefully we'll see that soon. But right now it's about 8,200.
How many years ago was the value zero?
Bitcoin originated in 2009. So 2009 was the first transaction, the first evaluate. And for the first couple of years, it was $5, $16, $8. So it didn't get until, even when I got involved just last year, it was only $1,200. So this astronomical amount of growth has happened in the last year.
So if in 2008 I had me $100,000 and I invested that in Bitcoin, I would have close to $1 million.
You wouldn't be sitting here right now. I probably can guarantee you that.
That's a third revolution. I miss. That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's been quite amazing.
Now, there's no banks involved. This is like debt-free. I did a little research on this, and people were talking about when you put money in the bank, it's like an IOU. Your statement is that the bank owe you that amount of money. It's like a debt on the bank.
Right.
And it only insures up to $100,000. And so if I put a $500,000, of course I got nowhere near that amount, in the bank, and something goes wrong, the bank is only responsible for $100,000.
This is true.
Now that's different from this cryptocurrency.
Yes,
am I correct?
Very much so. So Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are a peer-to-peer form of so it's decentralized, meaning there's no bank involvement. If I have a Bitcoin and you want a Bitcoin, we agree upon a price and I can transfer it directly from me to you. And there's no third party. So there are no transaction fees. There are no exchange rates. A Bitcoin in New York is the same value as a Bitcoin in Berlin, is the same value as a Bitcoin in Johannesburg. So wherever you go in the world, it's a globally accepted currency, which is also a different thing. So there are no exchange rates involved, and there's the transactions take place very rapidly, as opposed to if you needed to transfer $1 million from here to anywhere else in the world, you have to do a wire transfer, which can take days. This transaction you can do within a matter of minutes, and we're trying to shorten it until it gets to a matter of seconds. So it definitely revolutionizes the way that people can transfer money from person to person.
So this not only eliminates banks, it sounds like it eliminates governments.
In some respects, yes, but because of the technology that it's built on, the governments and the banks are trying to find a way to get in and control it to some extent, to get their piece of the pie, to, there's taxation and regulation coming down on it. So they're going to find a way to involve themselves. But to me, that shows us that we're on the right track, because then that means that mass adoption is down the road, because they see it as a valid form of currency.
How fast is this growing?
I think it's growing insanely rapidly. Like from 2009 to 2000, let's say 14, 15, very few people even knew about it. But now it's like a buzzword. People have heard about it. They don't know what it is. They don't use it. They may not be invested in it. So right now it's about 8% of the United States population that are aware, are invested in Bitcoin. So there's plenty of room for other people to get involved. It is accepted globally in different countries. I know there's a lot of things going on, Malta, in Singapore, in Nigeria, different parts of Africa. Akon, the rapper, he's going to be creating his own blockchain and Bitcoin community where it's solely run on digital currency. It's going to be in Senegal, and his cryptocurrency is called the A coin. So he has his own version. And so I think outside of the US, they aren't as skeptical as we are here.
You use the term, and I just want to make sure everyone understands that term. You use the term, Bitchain?
Bitcoin.
No, not Bitcoin. What was the term?
Oh, blockchain.
Blockchain. Yeah.
Blockchain. Blockchain is the foundation that Bitcoin is built on. Smart contracts and blockchain go hand in hand. It's a way to keep record of transactions. So the way that Bitcoin, the thing that makes it decentralized is that it's not one person at the top that is controlling all of the Bitcoin. It's a group of people. So a transaction can't be completed without it showing up on each person's
the confirmation.
Right. And so the confirmation's complete, and then the transaction. So there's very little possibility of anything fraudulent happening because it has to be verified by so many people that don't know each other, that aren't in communication. So it is what it is. It's a factual, automated, self-executing contract.
Okay, so that gives it its value. What are the forces that affect that value of the Bitcoin in terms of its cost going up and going down that shapes cryptocurrency in general? Is it the general market?
Yeah, it's very similar to the stock market. Okay. So if there's negative propaganda, if there's, people speaking positively about it, people get interested, they put more money in it. Of course, more money entering the market, that drives the prices up. So just people's involvement really leads the value.
So if it's the same forces that shapes it like the stock market, then it's kind of safe to assume that the risk is similar to the risk in the stock market.
Yes.
Can I make that assumption? Yes
and no. I always say high risk, high reward. It is, with any investment, there's potential for 100% loss. Okay. So if you invest in not necessarily Bitcoin, but one of the other cryptocurrencies, there's a chance that the company could go under and you could lose your shirt. But that's with any sort of investment with any company.
Okay. Now, let's change directions. What about yourself? How
Okay.
did you get involved in this, interested in it, and become a crypto coach? I love that term.
So I am a hospitality person. So I work in restaurants. I've worked in Madison Square Garden. I've worked at Barclays Center. And so I recently got a promotion to a general manager position. And the guy that I was seeing at the time, he was invested in Bitcoin and he had been involved for a couple of years. So this was like, so maybe he was involved since 2015. This is now 2017. So he said, I know you got a raise, so you got a little bit of expendable income. I've been involved in this. I think it's getting ready to take off. You should put some money into it. So I trusted him. I actually gave, it was a small, modest investment, under $1,000. I opened up my account. I bought a little bit of Bitcoin. That's one of the good things about it. You don't have to buy a full one. So even though it was $1,200, I didn't buy a full Bitcoin. I bought a portion of Bitcoin.
Oh,
I
okay.
bought a portion of Ethereum and a portion and maybe a few Litecoin, because Litecoin was only about $22 at the time.
These are other forms of digital
Other
currency.
forms of digital currency. So I bought a few around, and then in a week's time, my money doubled.
No.
So that
bad.
made me extremely curious about it. And so then
And a little happy, I assume.
Oh, very, very happy. And then in 2 weeks' time, it doubled again. So then I said, okay, I just became like so invested and I wanted to know everything that I could. So I started going to meetups and networking with people. And whenever I went out, I was always the only woman of color in the room.
Right.
So that inspired me to try to enlighten other people that look like me. And I started hosting my own meetups called Cocktails and Crypto, because since I was in the hospitality business, I wanted to incorporate that aspect of it, and then the crypto. So it's just a woman-led environment where people can come and ask me questions and learn more about the industry. And, you know, if they want to invest, I also wrote a guide called Demystifying Digital Currency, because I know these terms can be a little bit intimidating if you're not like a finance person or a tech person, which I am neither. So I figured if I could do it and be successful at it, then I could show other people how to do it and be successful at it as well.
You brought it up. You mentioned gender.
Yes.
Do you find more in terms of minority community, African American, Latino, more females have an interest in it versus more males, or gender is irrelevant?
Well, I think men are less conservative investors than women. Women tend to be more conservative investors. So men like to gamble,
Take
men
more
do
risk.
fantasy sports and things like that. So they don't think too much about dropping money for different things. Women want like a sure thing. So I feel like women, because they can identify with me, they may want to get on board now that they see somebody that they like, okay, she reminds me of myself. Maybe I should, you know, get into it as well. But for the most part, I think men are more willing to jump in because that it's more their speed.
Okay.
But I want to show women that they should get involved, because almost every story that I've heard is a woman finding out from like her significant other. I mean, even my story is the same. So I just wanted to try to put myself out there and be like the female face that people can attach to it and learn from me.
Because in general, finance is mainly a white male dominance.
Yes, and this is a little bit different because, like I said, it's a global thing. So there are a good portion of people from Asia and a lot of Eastern Europeans that are involved in this, as well as a lot of Indians, but not very many people of color.
Do you see this as a means to accumulate wealth, and not only for yourself, but the possibility of as a means to accumulate wealth for individuals in the African American and Latino community?
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of my mission, or that is my mission, is to promote diversity in the space. I know there are quite a few women that are involved. I'm in a few networking groups with women that are involved in the engineering of blockchain and founding their own companies and things of that nature. It's a brand new start. This is a new industry. Like I said, 8% of the population are invested in it, know about it. So there's like, if you can create it, if you can think of a lane for yourself, then
That leaves 92% out in the cold.
well, that's why we're sharing the information. So
Yes.
hopefully we can get those numbers
Yeah,
up.
but say the average person. I'm an average guy. I work 9 to 5. You know, I pay my bills. I have a little extra money, not a lot. I want to invest my $50.
Okay.
Is this a good deal for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having some Bitcoin is better than having none. Of course, the rate of return is not going to be the same as someone
Sure.
who has an entire Bitcoin, but you will still, as long as the market is going up, you'll be making money.
You see this as being the future in terms of global money and finance.
Absolutely. I mean, it just is on par with everything that we've seen so far. So we've been moving away from fiat money, cash,
Yes.
for a long time. So this is just a natural progression.
Now, if I say I brought Bitcoins, I brought a couple $1,000s in Bitcoins.
Okay.
And I have this value, and I wanted to buy a house.
Right.
Can I say, hey, Mr. Mortgage Man, here's my Bitcoins as my down payment? Does it work like that?
It does with people that accept it. So you have to find
Okay.
people that accept Bitcoin, or you can cash it out. So your Bitcoin, if you have it on the digital exchange, which is the way or the medium to purchase it, if you
Right.
just, it's linked to your bank account. So let's say you had a couple thousand worth of Bitcoin and it turned into 7,000 Bitcoin,
Right.
and you decide to sell it at 7,000, and then you would do a withdrawal the same as any
In your
other.
bank at any point in time.
Right, you can sell it, and it's not like a CD or a mutual fund where you're
Right.
locked in for a certain amount of time. If you want to do transactions every single day, if you decide that, like, if you make $100 on it, you want to sell, you can do that, and you can do multiple transactions as long as you know.
Now, the federal government treats it as income in
It's
terms for taxable purposes.
like capital gains, so
Okay.
it's taxed by the amount that you have. So the more, and it's taxed only when you take it out. So if you keep it on your exchange and you're just holding on to it for long term, you don't have to claim anything on it.
So the tax advantage is to the rich.
But all of these things are ever changing because this is a totally new industry. Everybody's trying to figure out how they're gonna, have their way with it. So that is the rule as of today. By
Right.
the time you file taxes, and maybe something else. So, we just have to stay,
Now,
aware.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think I remember reading somewhere that Amazon will now honor Bitcoins. Is that correct?
So I believe they were in talks. They're also in the process of creating their own cryptocurrency. So I don't know if they accept Bitcoin. I know Overstock accepts Bitcoin. Expedia was one of the merchants that accepts Bitcoin. And then there are also cards that you can, like debit cards that you can load your Bitcoin balance onto, and then you can just use it like a regular
Okay.
debit card, and then it will deduct from your
Is there
from your wallet.
this is all new to me. Is there a risk of somehow too many people developing their own form of Bitcoins and sort of
Yes, well, not their own form of
clogging the
Bitcoin,
market?
but their own form of digital currency.
Right.
Yes, there has been, there's a speculation that over 800 of the 1,500 projects that have been created they're inactive or like dead coins, so to speak. So, yes, it can be oversaturated, but if there's some functionality to it, and there's a market for it,
right.
there'll be value.
Okay, this is really good stuff. You have a webpage.
Yes, I do.
Would you like to share that?
Absolutely. It is www.bitcoinbombshell.com.
www.bitcoinbombshell.com. And people can sign up for your newsletter, am I correct?
Yes, they can sign up for my newsletter. They can purchase my guide, Demystifying Digital Currency. I also created a line of T-shirts because I'll show you. Because it is promoting what I am promoting in the space, which is diversity. So,
Wow, I like that.
yes, and you
Too
know.
bad that's not my size,
I don't
but
know.
yeah,
Maybe.
but, nah, I don't think so.
We'll see. But yeah, those are
That's
available
very
on the website as well.
Okay, now this is interesting. You call this diversity, and we're talking about digital currency.
Yes.
Make the connection for me, please.
So that was what inspired me to create the Bitcoin Bombshell brand, was that I didn't see any diversity in the community, in the community of New York, which is a melting pot.
Absolutely.
So, whenever I would walk into a room, I was always the only woman of color. So I wanted to try to be the visual representation of the diversity, besides, me obviously being that, just to also promote it as
Okay.
well.
Where do you see this going in the future?
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
I mean, cryptocurrency is the future. That is going to be the way that we do business.
Okay. And yourself?
For myself, so right now I'm working on my blog, just becoming more of the face that you associate with. I'm interviewing people, doing similar to what you're doing right
Yeah.
now, just spreading the gospel, so to speak, and letting people know that they shouldn't be intimidated by the technology behind it, and there is a lot of opportunity to generate wealth. There's a lot of opportunity to create
Right.
careers. All of these companies, the digital exchanges, they all need staffing, and it's not just finance and tech people. So if you are an administrative assistant, if you are a software engineer, if you are a PR person, they need the staff as well. So you don't have to necessarily be, a tech person to get these opportunities. These are huge companies that are, creating jobs. Coinbase, which is the leading digital exchange in the United States, they've been based in San Francisco, but they're opening an office in Union Square. They have to staff the building. Like, this is, people should be open to the information, because there's a lot of opportunity.
Wow, you have a task. This is I just like this word diversity on the T-shirt, and I clearly understand how you made that connection between diversity
I
and
think
digital
it's very
currency.
important, and it's not even just in digital currency; it's in general.
Yeah.
There's diversity and inclusion issues.
Sure.
From the Oscars to any industry you can think of. I know that we don't make up the majority of the population, but it should be able to have a fair representation of, different demographics.
We have a major purchasing power. I don't remember
Absolutely.
the numbers, but when we think in terms of our purchasing power, when I say our purchasing power, I'm looking about African Americans, but if you include African Americans, Latinos, you're looking at a considerable economic block.
Yes. We're huge consumers.
Yes. Now, I came across a name. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about
Okay.
this person. Nakamoto?
Oh, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi Nakamoto is credited as the creator of Bitcoin, but he's anonymous. Nobody knows who he is.
That's in this computer age, no one.
No one knows who he is, because he could be a collective and not just one person. Right. So he may be deceased already. Literally no one knows. So he's created the white paper, which is the blueprint for Bitcoin. And he's underground, or, maybe we'll find out one day. But for right now, he is a mystery. He
Wow.
or she.
Could be a she.
Or they.
Or they.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow. This has been very informative. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
And I want to learn more. And I'd like to thank you, Shanah, for coming and
Absolutely.
sharing. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having
And
me.
go to our website. And can you tell us the website again?
www.bitcoinbombshell.com.
Yeah. And find out about this new type of currency. It's the third revolution. It's the digital revolution. This idea of money is changing. So become part of it. I intend to. Well, folks, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I will see you next month on the second Saturday.